What happens when you are involved in an auto accident? Should you unfold your story at the scene? Should you contact an attorney? Let's find out the answer to these questions and more from our personal injury lawyer, Mr. Paul Samico. Attorney Samico is a practicing personal injury lawyer in the DC metro area.
Good morning. This is Dr. Rajesh Mehra welcoming you to a new series that we've just started called Leading Edge Injury Law. Last week I was honored, and again I'm privileged to have with me in our studios a very prominent personal injury attorney of the DMV area, Mr. Paul Samico. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much for having me back.
Absolutely. Well, you lasted 1 week. The ratings were high, as they say, and you're back.
Well,
they didn't cut us.
Okay.
Isn't that good?
Well, then we have to keep dancing.
We got to keep dancing.
Okay.
As long as the music is on, we'll keep dancing.
There you go.
Did you have a busy day?
Today was a busy and a productive day.
Productive
I'm happy
day.
to say.
Perfect. So we will continue our series on injury law. Last week we discussed a little bit about what is involved in some fender benders. Those are the accidents we all have been involved with, and kind of give us a couple of highlights before we go on to today's topic as to 1, 2, 3, 4 steps perhaps that people should do when they get just a little bumped or hit or something.
Happy to try it. Number one, you want to document what happened and where it happened. You don't just immediately get out and say, okay, let's get out of the traffic. You want to document what happened. You want to call the police. So if they can come, they can tell you when to move your vehicle. Number three, you don't want to tell anybody you're fine. Hopefully you are.
Right.
But if you're not, that could later be used to kind of bite you from the behind by the other person's insurance company.
Right.
So you want to just take your time with an assessment of your physical health. I also discussed at the very end of our segment last week that, and I might be biased, but calling an attorney, calling a personal injury attorney is free. Nobody that is in my business charges to talk to somebody to tell them, just to guide them through and help them. We're not, vultures. We want to help the public because what comes around goes around.
Right.
And getting some just 1, 2, 3, 4 real quick advice from an attorney who's been there, done that, knows what to do, how to do it, is the best advice I can give before you talk to the insurance companies.
Right, because once you say what it is you're going to say, it's recorded, it's documented at that end, and then you can say, you know what, I didn't tell you I was having neck pain or back pain or something.
That's exactly right.
What we want to focus on today perhaps is some of the more serious accidents where there is actually some very documented physical injury, that is a broken bone, a concussion, and of course some are very serious accidents. How does one deal with that any differently?
Well, the first thing is that more likely than not in a serious collision, you're not going to be able to talk to somebody because they've put you into an ambulance and you're now on your way to an ER.
Right, hospital.
Often police will follow or learn what happened and where the ambulance might have taken you, and they'll follow you to come and talk to you if you're able to talk and ask you what happened in the collision. And then of course it's fine to discuss that with the police.
Gotcha.
What distinguishes your conduct from a small little fender bender kind of a thing to a more serious collision where there are some injuries is two things. I just said it's important to call an attorney if you're involved in a collision because the attorney can guide you. Now I'm going to say, doctor, if you've been in a serious collision, it's almost like financial suicide if you don't call an attorney.
Right.
I implore anyone, if you've been in a collision that's serious, you must call an attorney and get advice and get guidance because the steps are important. Now we're talking about the real deal. People gamble and they go and buy the lottery ticket and it costs them $3. This isn't a $3 gamble for maybe I'm going to hit the jackpot. This is a major trip to Las Vegas from the East Coast where you spend a lot of money and you're putting up a lot of money and the stakes are very high. You can't afford not to call an attorney. That's step one.
Okay.
Step two, and you're going to love this, you have to get good medical care. You have to get good medical attention. And I know many, many, many fine emergency room doctors. I've been to dinner with them. They've had me to their homes. They're excellent physicians. But you have to make sure that you follow up with the appropriate type of doctor to address the specific needs and the specific injuries that you have. And so that begs the question, well, how do I know where
Which
to go
doctor, what
and which doctor?
specialist, right.
And again, I don't want to bring this back to the world of lawyers, but your lawyer's going to know. Your lawyer's going to know doctors in every specialty for the most part, and they can distinguish between the doctors who are able to address the needs and the concerns, and those maybe not so much.
Right.
And that's critical.
Right, and again, from a medical perspective, I want to make it clear, with due respect to all my colleagues out there, that there are certain doctors who may be very good in their own specialty, but they also have to know how to deal with the paperwork. Because for them, documenting an injury, dealing with your office, doing all these things are going to be crucial in sort of making the file complete, right?
Oh,
Because it's
absolutely.
all about a file, a dossier, nowadays a computer thing that then has to be presented to their attorney, opposing attorney, or an opposing insurance, and making sure that everything is packaged properly.
I'll share a short story. I know we have limited time, but this is just kind of an evidence of the kind of thing you just said. I had the pleasure of dealing with a very good doctor many, many years ago, a neurologist. But for, again, I'll pat myself on the back, but for me reading the medical records that he detailed about what happened to my client, his patient, there would have been a big problem. My client was a man, and as you read through his reports, every single reference to the client was a woman. She did this, she said that.
No.
And you could say, big deal, it's a typo.
Right.
And we all know that. But the problem is later the insurance company is going to look at that and say, well, this doctor can't even tell the difference between a man or a woman.
His credibility
and
is
his
low.
credibility just is zero after that. So I was able to call the physician and say, doctor, I think your typist made a mistake. And he was so embarrassed, and I got the corrected documents the next day.
Absolutely right. So now we've gone to the ER, we've had, let's say, a broken bone fixed or a cast, and we're home, and now what? We've called in the claim, I guess.
Well, again, you want an attorney calling in the claim for you. You don't want to be talking to the insurance people, because this is my mantra with my clients. You don't talk to them. Let me talk for you. You're an intelligent person. You want to be fair. You want to be honest. You're widely regarded in your field. But this is another world.
Right.
The insurance goal is to deny, stall, delay, and whatever you say, the best thing that can happen is that it doesn't hurt you.
Right.
That's the best thing. So if that's the best thing, then just don't say anything.
Got you. And
So-
then what happens?
Well, then there's a process of the recuperation of your body, the
Healing.
The healing, thank you,
Right.
good word. And really the process of the claim that you're going to make against the at-fault party's insurance company doesn't really go anywhere until the person has healed.
Recovered, right.
And people want to know, well, why does it take so long? Well, it doesn't take that long. It takes as long as you need to heal, because I don't want to try and make a settlement of a client's case if they're in the middle of getting physical therapy.
Right.
Because once I settle it on a Monday and they have therapy on a Thursday,
That won't, right.
they're not getting paid for what happened on Thursday.
Right.
So that's just a common sense kind of thing. The car situation is going to hopefully resolve. The car is either going to be repaired or it's not. They call the unrepairable car a total loss. People get crazy about their cars. It's unbelievable. It's almost humorous at times. And I understand that in our area. If it's in New York, nobody owns a car, but here,
Everybody
owns a car.
Everybody
and
drives a nice car.
you can't get from point A to point B without your wheels.
Right.
And so they're more concerned about what's going to happen with my car than who's going to fix my broken right arm. Nonetheless, an attorney can get involved and guide and help and advise. The value of a car is the value of a car. People have a hard time understanding that. When you drive that new shiny car away from the dealership, it depreciates. So that I paid $27,000 4 months ago, it's not worth $27,000 anymore.
But they have to pay to replace it if it is a total.
Well, they have to pay the value of the car, and that's the important part. I mean,
see.
let's use your pen. When I buy this pen, it costs 10 cents. But now I've used up all the ink. How much is it worth?
Something
a penny,
less,
maybe.
right.
So they have to pay for what the value is at the time. And again, that's a difficult conversation that I often have with clients to educate them. And I try and counsel them because that's very upsetting.
Right.
You know, people don't necessarily have the funds to go out and start financing a new car. And what they're going to get that replaced the old one isn't
not
adequate. Right.
It's not
But
what they had.
this is what we do, and we try and help them and assist them. And there's a lot of little secrets that most lawyers have to help with that.
So once their body is healed, sort of they're finished their treatment protocols with their physicians, that's when you turn everything into the insurance company.
Well, yes, in a chronology, that's correct. I mean, there's a few more details
Right.
involved, but my philosophy is that I share my evaluation with my client before I do that, and I get their specific permission. You know, and I think that's a good practice. A lot of lawyers do. Some don't. You know, so I mean, again, this is a piece of advice. You want to select your attorney with the same caution and precision and checking as you would a doctor that you're going to go.
Sure, any professional these days, people have so many. Before it was like, okay, let's go see this doctor, this lawyer, because my neighbor recommended it. Well, now everybody's checking health grades for doctors. I'm sure there's a legal portion. So select your professional help properly. But getting back to this thing, so once you submit the claim to the proper insurance agency, then they evaluate it, and that takes time. Am I right?
It does. Yeah. I mean, there's a process of gathering records and bills, and then we finally send everything into the insurance company. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks is not unusual to allow them to review it, and the claims manager will get involved, and depending upon the size of the claim, there might be a regional manager, and there might be a regional supervisor, and they have a claims committee, and who knows what they do. I mean, most of us,
and then they get back to you.
And we get on the phone and we negotiate. We negotiate,
right.
And I have a view of it should get this much, and I'm going to ask the insurance for this much. I want to get more. I want to take as much as I can for my good client. The insurance company,
has the opposite view.
They
want to give you this much when it's worth this much, right?
Well,
so hopefully you reach a medium and
keep
everybody happy.
If it doesn't work, we have the choice of several different things. We could all agree to arbitrate or to mediate a claim, which is a lot less formal than going into a courtroom. There's no requirement that the insurance companies agree to that. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But if they don't, and the offer to settle the claim is not satisfactory, there's the friendly courtroom. And again, then you need an attorney.
Right.
Yeah.
That's where it comes in.
Right.
Well, I think that the whole process gets complicating, which is why you need professional help to maneuver, to make proper decisions in this business. And that's where I want my audience to understand that getting a team together, a good physician, a good attorney, a good repair place, right? You give your car in and they don't repair it for 3 months, well, that's not good news.
No.
So it's really a team, and that team has to think and coalesce and to make the end result, get you back on your feet.
No man is an island.
No man is an island.
You can quote me.
Yeah, I can quote you on that.
Yeah.
You made that quote?
No, I didn't. I didn't think that up.
You didn't
It
think
just
that?
seemed to apply.
That's a good one. So join us again next week when we're going to continue this very interesting discussion about personal injury. How do you take care of things and all the facts that we've been discussing all day. Thank you so much.
A pleasure again. Thank you so
Yes.
much.